All right, so today is the day we are filling our food buckets. We got an order, don't you know? We got an order from Pullman back in, when was that, Josiah? April? I think it was April 15th. We got about a month ago, about 4 weeks ago, we got a shipment from Pullman, which of course, as many of you know who've watched previous videos on our pantry, is the bulk food store down in southern Michigan that delivers through several states, and they deliver all the way up here to the UP only every other month. But I have not had the opportunity to get all of my empty buckets washed so that we could fill them. And in the cold months, and it's cold up here in April, I'm not concerned. But as the months warm up and we have bugs up here, of course, because we're in the woods, the concern has ramped up. So we are going to get them out of the cargo trailer where they've been safely stored for these weeks and fill our buckets up today. I wanted to show you what we had gotten this last round. They were totally out of flour, which really bummed us out. So we ended up getting all kamut. But hopefully this next coming month we'll be able to get some flour. Things have just been so hard to get with everything going on. All right, so this is, can you, Mail Vanna, show the kamut? There's the kamut. What else did we get? We got sugar and oats.
And salt back in the corner.
Salt back in the corner.
Baking powder.
That's not cashews, although I wish it were. We had to get some white flour from, oh, that's powdered sugar. We got 50 pounds powdered sugar.
White flour right here.
And white flour right there. Those were from the all bulk food store, which is the fastest shipping place during this COVID-19 pandemic that exists right now. It's the only place, the all bulk food store is the only place that we've ordered from. Well, I can't say the only place because Thrive does it within 24 to 48 hours. And Vitacost does it within 24 to 48 hours, but you never know if you're going to get the product undamaged. Wheelbarrow full of wood?
Not yet.
Oh, what's the hold up, bub?
Coffee. Oh, sore.
You've had coffee. No coffee till the firewood gets brought back.
I just finished another cup.
Right. Oh, then really no coffee till work gets done.
Oh, sore, but
I think he's feeling judgment.
just a little bit, but he's earned it.
We seem to be, I don't know.
Judgmental lot right now.
All right, so one of the questions is people are interested in where our whole luscious 6 apple sticks are going to go. Now, to my kindred spirit, you will know when I say that I wanted an avenue, or otherwise known as the White Way of Delight.
Mr. Cuthbert, what is this place called?
The Avenue. Pretty, ain't it?
So here is where we're going to start our apple orchard. And I have to have imagination with this, because like I said, we've only got six trees, and they're just a twig. So I know you will envision this. This was a logging road, and you can see the cabin way off in the foreground there. Foreground? Background? Way off in the distance there. We have not cut any trees down through here because we haven't been 100% sure what we're doing. And we've liked the canopy from the forest, which we still have, as you can see. There's no want for that. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to clear out about 10 or 15 feet on the left side and 10 or 15 feet on the right side. And we're going to line this with apple trees. So we have to start somewhere with 6. They have to be 15 feet apart. They're dwarf trees, which aren't real dwarf in my opinion, because they get to be up to 16 foot tall. But that's the beginning of our White Way of Delight. For you Anne of Green Gable fans, you will know what I'm talking about.
They shouldn't call this lovely place the Avenue. There's no meaning in a name like that. They should call it White Way of Delight.
I'll have to show you the spots we've picked for. Now, we've picked a heritage apple trees, some dating back to the 1770s. In fact, one of them, and I can't remember the name of them, I think it's Pippin, Benjamin Franklin, nope,
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson wrote about being the best apple tree around. So we picked older trees, and the one I really wanted, and it's my favorite, is the Northern Spy. They're really hard to get, and they were all out, so I couldn't get that this year, but we will be, by the grace of the good Lord, getting them for planting next spring. I will update on, we've got 2 or 3 places we're going to do a raspberry patch, and then the garden area, so, which is practically gasping to be planted. The cabin looks like a bucket factory blew up. And these buckets that we have here today have been buckets that we used, oh my goodness, over and over again. That's the great thing about 5-gallon buckets. You use them over and over again. I know a lot of people get used buckets and stuff with pickles in them. My experience has been that a used bucket that has had liquid or something in it, it's almost impossible to get that flavor, the smell out. So we just, we invest in the new bucket with the new lids and rings, and they last for years. This round of buckets came up, our last trip down south last summer, we had them stored. They were all empty. And, I know you guys who have seen the old pantry videos, we've had hundreds of buckets filled at one time. And where do you store buckets like that? Well, if you have a pantry, which we did, we stored a lot in there, but they didn't all fit. So we stored them under beds and put the mattresses on top instead of having bed frames. That's what we do now, because that's how the room we have. In the video earlier when I showed you the bags of food, we will put these buckets in the cargo trailer for storage. It's not the best place. You really want to keep your stored goods in a cold area, but we just don't have it, so we just have to deal with what we have. Fortunately for us, our nights get real cold. If the trailer stays shut up, even in the summer, the temperature still should be pretty hospitable to dried goods. So I just wanted to show you the explosion in the cabin here. So I've got buckets right now sitting everywhere to dry. They're on my counter, they are over on my table. I've even put them on top of my sink area where I've got some containers of seeds going on just to get them dry. I washed them last night. When I wash buckets, I want to make sure they're thoroughly clean. So I even take the rings out of the lids. They come out real nice with a butter knife. If you're gentle, they don't pull apart. Eventually these rings will deteriorate anyways, and as far as I know, you just can't buy the rings again, but they do last a long time. These buckets are a rather new batch, and you'll see that we've used them multiple times. At one point, I had sugar that was dated March 7th when I put them in there, and I would put the amount of the weight to remind me. Then when this bucket was emptied, I ended up putting pinto beans, and I couldn't wash that off, so I just mark it off. It's just quicker and easier. Pinto beans in July of 2012. And most of the buckets are like that. This one's same thing. This was used originally in March of 2007 and then refilled in January of 2011. This one just had that date. So I guess my feeling is this: if you can afford it, if it's in your budget, it's worth investment in the bucket. Now these have gone up. These have probably doubled. I think the last time we bought buckets, lids included, we probably paid like $6 for the total. I think they're up to 10 now. They've really gotten outrageous. But the point is it's an investment. It keeps your food safe. We always put bay leaves on top of our dried goods in the bucket. They're supposed to keep bugs away. We've never, because it seals so well, I don't know that we've ever had a problem except with a couple of buckets that got left outside for a long time. And in fact, we did a video up here. Since we've been up here, we opened them because we weren't sure what we were going to find. And there wasn't really too much in there, except that we did find a little bit of webbing on one of the bucket lids. Bugs are notorious to work their way into things. So the bay leaves are just kind of like a little extra precaution. Now I'm filling all these buckets, and I don't have bay leaves here. I am out. I have to order bay leaves. So in fact, I have them ordered, but shipping is so slow at the company that we get our herbs from that it's going to be a while. So I will end up having to reopen all of these to get the bay leaves in. It's just a pain, but it's going to be worth it in the end. So one of the things during the COVID-19, yes, we still have snow stuff back here because I don't have any place for it right now. But one of the things during the COVID-19 that, you know, everybody's encouraged to do is wear masks, wear gloves when they're out. But I don't think a lot of people realize that when they get stuff brought home, that if that stuff has been touched by somebody with the virus or has been coughed on, that it can indeed contain the virus. So my family, as well as loved ones near and dear to us, are taking extra precautions. We are alcoholing the items off before we bring them in the house. If we usually have what we call a quarantine area, that would be the cargo trailer. We open the stuff up, we wipe the stuff off, and then and it's mainly because of my OCD, we give it a few days to sit to make sure that we are indeed being as careful as we can be. So today's conversation is pantry, and we have to discuss what's waiting for us at the cargo trailer. That needs to be brought back today because we have more stuff coming. All of our shopping, 99.5% of our shopping is done online. And during the fall, the late summer, early fall, before all this started, we were discussing about our ordering online. And I was really glad that we were comfortable with that when this started, because that was pretty much what we were already doing. We did make trips to Walmart, but they were not very often. We have not been to inside a store for months, and many of our stores up here are doing curbside pickup. We order it, we pay for it online, and we just drive up, we call them, they throw it in the back of the truck, and we are on our way. And we love that. It's great. With the warmer weather and my beloved ice box being cooled from the outside is no longer a go. All of our snow has melted, even that under piles of leaves that we use when the exterior snow melts. It's kind of like the idea is like the ice house. It's insulated with sawdust or straw. It works that way. But that has also melted. We've had a really warm spring already, as well as our snow was really down. I mean, I think, without really looking at the records, I think we had decided, based on each month's snowfall that's tallied up here, because it is tallied, because it is such an important thing, I think we almost got between a foot to 2 feet less than normal. So one way we've done this in the past to keep our food cold is that we have used ice in a cooler, and that's really expensive, and we go through a lot of it. It's not our favorite way, but depending on what we have and what we're trying to keep cold, that is what we do. The other thing we have done is we've used the crick. This year we upped our game a little bit, and they made a couple of crick cooling boxes. We haven't dug a refrigerator into the ground because we have a really high water table here. We've dug holes in the ground, and they just fill up with water right away. So that's not really conducive at this time. But we have to be on top of things. If we have rain expected, we have to get stuff out because the crick rises, of course. And we have a bucket, and we have a cooler that Ron and Josiah did the bucket, and Ron did the cooler, that helps to keep stuff cool. And it's primarily what we're focused on is our milk. Everything else, is pretty self-stable for the type of things that we eat. Our dairy products comes from our goat's milk. Our eggs don't have to be refrigerated, especially if you gather them when they're clean. They've got the bloom on them. Butter's shelf stable for quite a while. You'd be surprised how long that stuff is shelf stable. It's just like if you clarify it, then you've got 6 months. Non-clarified butter I've had without a problem for 3 months. And I know most people freak out, but most people freak out if the eggs aren't refrigerated. And that's a pretty modern new thing. So I'm going to walk back over here so you can see what we've got to do down here at our creek. All right, this is nothing fancy, obviously, but it does the job. The creek is low right now. There's the muddy area. Usually the creek is over that. We've had a dry spring so far. It's not the best of circumstances. We have high and low spots in the creek. That is one of our lower areas right down through here. And the bucket, you can see the bucket, has holes there. So the holes come in one side, they're down lower, and that is so that it doesn't rise above a certain thing. And that all works out great as long as it's not raining. Okay, this rack goes into the cooler to keep the food out of the water, but it needs to be in the water a little bit if it's not already chilled to keep it cold. We've got rocks in there to fill up so that if we get an overflow of water, the jars don't shift. Everything, we keep most everything in a jar. Last night I made fried chicken, and I put it down here and it's nice and cold. I had some chicken that I just boiled, and that's good and cold. You can see, maybe you can see it. You can see moisture showing how cold the jars are. The rocks, of course, stay cold too, so they help if the water is not above the rocks and the jars are touching the rocks, it keeps them cold. Living this way. Hi. Come on down. Oh, we lost the milk? You just need it washed again. All right, so I will be back down here to finish that, but because we don't pasteurize our milk, we have to be very meticulous. And he milks, and then he pours each goat's milk into a jar and goes on to the next goat. But the second goat apparently hit the rim of the milk pan, so I've got to go wash it again. Better safe than sorry. Raw milk is best, but you do want to make sure you're not going to contaminate it with the manure that will be on the goat's hoofs. I feel like I'm walking the plank every time I come out here. The stick is there obviously to keep the cooler from maybe floating down if there's not a lot of weight in it, or if the water rises too quickly before we get down here. Now I'm going to get my breakfast because I'm having a piece of cold fried chicken. It's really surprising how cold that is. That's refrigerator cold. I know, it's a far cry from the stainless steel sanitary kitchens that so many are used to today, but for centuries people survived this way, and actually people thrived. So that's why we're here. We're here to thrive. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. Also, hit the bell notification, and if you're a follower of our devotions, family devotions, check the link out below. I'm going to keep reminding everybody, if you're a devotional follower, go to Family Heritage Living Devotion here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. We're uploading a lot of videos over there for devotions, inspirational chats, and just open chats about being a faithful Christian, and things that aren't real popular, in today's world. So, all right, we will talk to you later. God bless.